Fallon, thanks for joining us here. Can you tell
Hey,
us a little bit
Abby.
about yourself? Hi. Tell us about yourself and what you do.
Yes, thanks for asking. So, Fallon Pepper, I am an artist here in Charleston, South Carolina. Love painting in oils, and I love Charleston. So, I feel like that really comes out in my paintings. We're a coastal city in South Carolina, and so I'm often out by a marsh or a beach painting in plein air, and that's my favorite. I do
Sounds like
some
a dream
studio
come
painting.
true.
I do some studio painting as well, but anytime I can get outside and in our beautiful city or surrounding areas, I'm all over that.
Mhm.
I used to be a teacher, but I had a real bad case of the teacher burnout, and I left after much thought and prayer, and just followed my heart into the creative world. And we have such a strong creative community here in Charleston, so it just felt right. And I'm so thrilled that I took that leap of faith, and I could not be happier. Like living in Charleston, working in Charleston. Um, some days I'm like, I should pinch myself. Like this is like
Oh,
such a
yeah,
dream. Yeah.
absolutely. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love it. There's so much that I could touch on with all of that, but we connected through Instagram, which is so cool. And so I've obviously been following your story, and I love it. I think that there is a lot to be learned about stepping out into faith and also using what you got.
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing lately. There's a painting fundraiser that you were doing to help your local community, which I think is so cool because we can all use what we got to serve and to help
Yeah.
right now. And you are a great example of that.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for recognizing that. That really means a lot. Again, the teacher in me, I think, I'm just a natural nurturer. I want to bring people together and show love. And um, honestly, this fundraiser, I called it Heart in the Park.
Love it.
um, and just went a couple blocks over to a park called Hampton Park here in downtown Charleston, and set up my plein air gear and painted in the park, and had just a big sheet spread out with a ton of oil studies, and truly studies. Like these were pieces that were just stacking up in my studio since like 2018, had
Okay.
a few 19s and some from this year too, but just ones that were never really going to go to a gallery or on my website, like just truly practice pieces. So I was like, what can I do with these? Like, let me do a little spring cleaning,
Mm,
and maybe I can do some good with it while I'm at it. And so it was
awesome.
a total win-win. Um, the I mean, I don't have children, so I'm not out in my neighborhood a lot, like strolling a baby or that. I mean, I'd go for runs or walk my dog like on around my block, but I really don't have. I live literally in downtown Charleston, so it's not
Oh,
like we live in like I'm not in a suburb, a neighborhood with like a community pool and that kind of thing where you can
sure.
actually get together and meet each other for events and whatnot. So I don't know a ton of my neighbors, and so it was a great way to meet neighbors because I just kept posting on our neighborhood Facebook group about my fundraiser, and they came over, and I put some on my Instagram just so I just like for my followers, whether they're in Charleston or elsewhere, to know what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Um, and I honestly fundraiser. I did some spring cleaning, as I said, had the neighbors come. A few people, even from Instagram, like sent me a DM, like, "Hey, I'm not in Charleston, but I would love to. I love what you're doing. Can I participate?" So I had a few that I mailed out as well, which was pretty cool. One went to New
Yeah,
York, which I thought was awesome.
I love
I have a few
it.
like northern collectors, but I don't think I have anyone from New York, so now I do. Um,
Cool.
Yeah. So 50%, I was very upfront about that. Like 50% would go to a local restaurant and it was one in the neighborhood that I chose,
Sure.
which I thought would really help bring our neighbors out. Because we have
Mhm.
a ton of fabulous restaurants here in Charleston,
Mhm.
which is one reason why I love where I live.
Sure.
But Renzo came to mind. They're a little pizza shop in town, but not your typical like, greasy, grungy pizza,
Not
like grab
Chicago
and
style.
go, like takeout. Not that anything is wrong with that by any
Yeah.
means,
No, it's not. Mm-mm.
but this is like a very nice, like, candles on the table, natural wine. Like it's
Can
a
you just
very,
transport me to Charleston like right now? Because honestly, I am picking up what you were laying down.
yeah, it's a
I love
sweet
it.
little spot. It is
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, my husband and I have even like walked over there. It's super close. Walked over, had some natural wine and eaten pizza. And they have like these legit pizzas, like lamb pizza with
Mm.
sweet and spicy honey and jalapenos. It's awesome.
Yes.
So
Yes, girl.
anyway,
Hmm. I
not to
love it.
not to like go off on this tangent about Renzo, but I clearly I love the restaurant. I
Yes.
wanted to show love back. And so I was like, this is what I'm doing. And I need to still count up because I took a picture at the very beginning of how many pieces I had.
Hmm.
I want to say like, gosh, probably 50 pieces.
Wow.
And
That's
I
amazing.
all of them were sold in the park and a few on Instagram, except for like 10ish. So I think like 40 something.
Fallon, that's huge.
Like,
I
yeah,
think that we could certainly learn something from this, about being a socially responsible consumer as well, as we continue on after COVID-19 and
yeah,
how our world is going to change. But I just think it's so cool that you saw a need and that you didn't think about it, you didn't make a list, you just went for it.
yes,
And
yes,
that's awesome. And I'm so glad that it was successful. And not that, I
yeah.
mean,
It
hello,
was.
your art is beautiful. So, I
Oh,
mean, what a
thanks.
win-win for everyone. So, so
Yeah,
cool. And
yes, it was.
I think that what is even cooler about this is that you were a teacher for so many years. And, we certainly spend so much of our lives working. And I think that many people feel like they have to continue doing something that they don't necessarily love. And there seems to be like this unwritten rule that you should make one career choice and stick with it the rest of your life. What do you think
Yeah,
that is?
yeah. Well, I know for me, I knew as early as, gosh, probably middle school. Certainly by high school, I was in a program called Teacher Cadet, which is something that I think is maybe only in South Carolina. My mom is or was an educator. She was in art education. I have an aunt, an uncle in education. My aunt was a nurse, like a school nurse. So education was like we were all about that. Um, and there was no question. I was going to school for education, got
Mm,
an awesome scholarship that paid for my school as long as I worked in a Title I school for the same amount of years that I had the scholarship. It paid itself back. And I was like, well, I mean, I love South Carolina, I love Charleston. I'm going to be here anyway. Like, no problem. Like, I'll totally be here teaching. So yeah,
sure.
it was, yeah. So there was no question. Anyway, I invested a lot, like from a very, as early as high school. I was like, just investing a lot into the idea of becoming an educator. In
Mm,
college, I would work at schools or volunteer or observe. I mean, I put a lot of effort and time into it. And then, once I became a teacher, I taught for 5 years. Those 5 years, I like invested in a lot of like materials and just, I mean, it was overwhelmed, like almost overwhelming, like how much like, I was like bringing on, but I just
mhm,
wanted to like be the best. And so
sure.
anyway, with that being said, like I felt like I was so invested in the career.
Hmm.
And for me, like being a teacher, um when people ask, oh, hi, nice to meet you. What do you do? My response was never, I teach. My response was, I am a teacher. Like that
Mm,
was my identity. I am
sure,
a teacher. So
sure.
I was very invested, not only financially and invested like time wise, but my heart was invested. And
Mm,
so it was not easy just to walk away. In fact, I literally sat in my principal's office and cried to him. And I
mm.
think he probably was like, okay, you're saying you don't want to sign your contract, you want to leave, but you're crying. Like why? I
Right,
don't get it.
right.
I was passionate. I was
Mm,
passionate. I love teaching. I still do love teaching. I will always have a heart of a teacher, but I could not create a healthy work-life balance. So for me, it was just, it wasn't healthy, and I had to make the hard decision to walk away for my
mm.
health,
Yeah,
honestly, for
yeah.
my health. But it wasn't easy because of the investment. I think that's why a lot of people feel like, well, gosh, I've already put in all this effort into it, or all this time, or money, or whatever. And so that investment and
Mm.
fear, big one.
Yes, yes.
And not to say I was fearless. Like I
Mm-hmm,
definitely had my concerns, but that's where my faith came in, and I prayed about it. I know
mm-hmm.
that's not everyone's situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
There were
But you
several
chose to
teachers.
step out. You
Yes,
chose to. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Several teachers came up to me after it was announced at one of the end of the year like teacher meetings, and they were like, oh my gosh, like you of all, like I would have never imagined like you would be the one like not coming back next year. And so many of them said, well, this one particular teacher said these exact words: if only I were as brave as you, like I would do the same.
Mm. Wow.
And
I think that could
I didn't
happen
feel
in
that.
a lot of career
Yeah,
choices too. You can get complacent with anything, even when you are
yeah,
passionate about it at first. It's
sure,
hard to like kind of keep drawing from that. But I
yeah.
think that's also why growth is so important, and seeking growth is so important,
Mhm.
because a lot of times as adults it feels like it sort of falls by the wayside a little bit. Like we can all get very complacent into our
Yeah,
natural habitats, our routines, either as a mom or a career woman, a teacher, whatever you're doing.
yeah.
And I think that we can let growth, adventure, new opportunities, they just fall by the wayside. And
Mhm.
um, perhaps this belief surrounding settling into one space, whether that be our career or not, is also tied to how we view areas of personal growth as adults. And yeah, I don't know. Would you sort of agree with that? Is that's tied to our careers, our personal growth, as well as our career choices?
I think for me, I'm just a natural like dreamer and go-getter.
Mm,
Maybe sometimes too much.
yeah,
Um,
same here.
so I just feel like, whether it's a career goal or a life goal, if I want it, I'm going after it.
Love it.
And I don't know that that is consistent across the board. I can
Mhm.
speak for myself though. I know that if I want something and I believe it like in my core that this is the right thing, um and perhaps I've even ran it by a few friends, or I've sought out some wise counsel, and
Mhm.
if they're like, yep, I'm hearing, yeah, I'm hearing this right, I think you're right, go for it, like I may seek out another opinion, but for the most part, like if I feel in my gut, like I'm going after it, whether it be a
Mhm.
personal goal or career
Yeah.
goal or
And I think that you bring up such a good point on why community is so important, and to have that wise counsel in your corner, and to continually seek out other people who are
yeah,
moving with
yeah,
the people
yeah,
that are doing that, and also seeking truth into their lives, because a lot of people can tell you, um, give you advice, right? But there's only a select few that you can really allow um, to give you that advice, especially for such a big transition. But I
yeah.
think that the point is that um, growth is an option for everyone, right? And
Oh,
we can't
sure.
grow unless we're pushing past fear. And I
Mm,
think that wellness, personal growth, are such broad topics. And I have personally observed that there's two types of people, that there's some that aren't super eager to explore personal
Mhm.
growth, and
Mhm.
okay, outside of their, and a lot of those people don't want to explore outside of their physical efforts. I know this to be true because I personally trained for so many years, that we think that
Okay.
these efforts should be compartmentalized, but I think we're really doing ourselves a disservice when we do that.
Mhm.
And so there's those that are eager to jump on board and explore all facets of personal growth. And why do you think it's important to work towards harmonizing your mental, spiritual, and physical well-being? Because
Mm,
I think that you could
that's
really
good.
speak to that, um,
Yeah, that's
uh,
good.
with your
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
Yeah.
So as you were speaking on, the personal training and the physical aspect of goals and growth, so that did get put on the back burner for my teaching because I said yes, um, and went all in so hardcore with teaching. I was saying no to working out. It wasn't until that 5th year that I was like, whoa, whew, I need like some yoga or something. Like this is just, But honestly, by the time it dawned on me, like, hello, like your body is screaming for you to take care
Mm,
of it.
mhm.
It was honestly too late.
Uh,
So I was just already burnt out. Like
oh,
mentally,
gotcha. I
I
get
was
what
just
you're
already
saying.
burnt out mentally,
Hmm.
and yeah, my heart just, I was like, I just can't. These kids, and I should say I taught in some really high poverty schools. So these kids
Okay.
needed someone who was all in, and
Sure.
I wasn't. I did it to myself, and I because I said yes and went all in and checked all the teacher goals. But while I was doing that, was leaving, the physical fitness out of the
Yeah.
equation. Like it
I
just,
love that you're saying this. I just want to pause really quick here, because I
sure.
think so often we can say that it's just moms. It's just moms that, hey, you got to take care of yourself to take care of other people, take care of your little ones. But it's not just moms. It's
Yeah.
everyone. It's all people.
Yeah.
And especially with women, though, I think we're such born nurturers, and we have such heart to help,
Yeah.
that we really can't serve others unless we're serving ourselves
Mhm.
well.
But for me, I had to unfortunately learn the hard way. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had to burn out and learn the hard way. But now I am moving forward in this new career, um, with like a whole new perspective when it comes to like my personal wellness and well-being.
So speaking of you really having this urge to turn the tide and just engage in more self-care,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting because during this journey of you engaging in more self-care, you also learned that you wanted to seek this artist path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know this is very broad, but I had recently read studies that have shown that creativity can spark after physical activity. And so after your workout, I was just curious to know, do you feel more inspired to paint?
I don't know that so I think I've gotten really good at, I'm obsessed with hot yoga. That's like my
Okay.
number one. It's not my
Okay.
only physical, but hot yoga. But a reason why it is so good for me is because I am like this idea person. Ideas like are coming to me, like I'm also a multitasker, so I might be, writing an email and I'm like, ooh, gotta get the clothes out of the wash. Ooh, gotta do this.
Yeah.
Ooh, gotta do that. So yoga is my time to not have all the voices. I
Mm,
don't think about a thing besides what to do next.
sure.
My breath. I mean, I occasionally may like think of like a person that's been on my heart that's struggling, or maybe the instructor at the very beginning said, kind of let's dedicate this practice to blank. And so
Hmm.
I'll maybe kind of think on that a little bit, but for the most part, like I am not thinking of all the like to-do list and
Right.
or even thinking of the next project or painting fundraiser or you know whatever.
Hmm.
um, but I would say that when I leave, I maybe don't walk out of there like, ooh, now I'm ready to paint a beach. No,
Right.
but once I do finally get into the studio or, or out on location to paint, my mind is more clear, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm in a better headspace to paint because I have taken care of myself.
Sure.
Because
Absolutely.
as my passion for painting has grown, my passion for yoga and self-care and, even like some HIIT classes, spin classes, that has grown too. And I think that's just all a part of becoming, like growing up,
Mm-hmm.
maturity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning more about myself, and I know that I need a workout and I need self-care. I need that massage. I need that adjustment at the chiropractor. I need, just to take some time to simply rest. And that is one thing I've got to keep working on because
Mm-hmm.
it's
You and me
very,
both.
very hard for me to rest.
Sure, sure.
Um,
I completely understand that. And I think that I want to circle back to something that you said, how you think that now they complement each other, the wellness and the art together. Do you think that when everything's kind of jiving, kind of moving, when we're really seeking to nourish our mind, body, and spirit, and build this cohesive wellness journey, do you think that it also for you personally might have something to do with your spiritual health as well?
oh, for sure. Oh, for
Yeah,
sure. They go
yeah.
together, hands
Mm-hmm.
down.
Sure.
When if there's a day where I started with some quiet time, where I then went to yoga, I then painted, but also I used that creativity, but I also maybe did some emails. I checked some boxes. The teacher in me is still there. I
Mm-hmm.
still love like the admin stuff. It's weird, but I do. I love the
Yeah.
emails. I love meetings like this. When I've checked those boxes too, like I let my left and right brain operate.
Yes. Yes.
That's when I feel the most whole. Like, so yes.
Oh,
So all of this
uh-huh. I
spiritual, starting my day if I can. Sometimes I let
yes.
the admin stuff get in the way and I do that first. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's noon and I've just been doing emails and what, oh, that's not good. Got to work on that. But spiritual, if I can start my day with that, some quiet time, go to yoga, go for a run, whatever, break a sweat, clear my mind, and do my job, but both sides of my job, the admin and the painting, boom. Like,
I love
call
it. I love it. I am so on board with you on this because I was recently just doing research on connecting the right and left side of the brain. And typically in wellness, you don't see like the physical aspect, the spirit, and art together. You don't normally
oh,
see that. However, art is such a fantastic tool for physical recovery. And
sure.
typically you're going to see physical recovery as Epsom salts or massage or those sorts of things. And I
Mm-hmm.
really think that women especially, and maybe there's men too, but we like to create. And as I like to say, and this is my belief, our creator likes to see us creative. And I think that there's,
Yeah.
many ways that we can be creative, and maybe it is in those analytical tasks and whatnot sometimes. But that brings me to that as my belief, and again, this is not for everyone, is that we're called to continually be new creations. And in order to do that, we have to step out in fear, just like you did with your career
Mm-hmm.
path, which I'm so
Mm-hmm.
inspired seeing people walk
Mm-hmm.
this way. And so, I, I guess I'm curious to know how you got that courage to walk
Mm-hmm.
into a new version of yourself at this point of your life.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Well, I think for one, I truly felt in my heart I had no choice. It was not like I left because I had the next job lined up.
Yeah.
That's not how teaching works. You can't just interview for jobs, and because mind you, I was not leaving teaching to become an artist like the next day because I had
Mhm.
not painted anything. Well, maybe one thing the entire 5 years of teaching. So I was leaving, yes, hopefully something in the creative community here in Charleston. I mean, I even like went to galleries, florists, interior designers. I mean, anything hands-on and creative. Like I was going to them and like, can I meet with you? Because
I
like,
love that
I
though. You just tried.
can't
Yeah.
be a teacher anymore. I physically and mentally can't be a teacher anymore. Like I know that I'm also very creative and I think I'd be really good at something like this. So like, help. And
So cool.
so
I don't think that's praised enough in our culture. So I just totally applaud you for that. I think
yeah,
that's so
thanks.
amazing. Yeah.
So for me, it was honestly, it was just like, I had no choice. Like I knew
Yeah.
that I couldn't, because me signing that contract meant I was not going to, start a new school year and December of the next year, if something came available at a gallery or whatever, oh, I would take the job. No, no. If I signed that contract, that was me committing to another year of first graders for an
Hmm.
entire school year.
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't have it in me.
Hmm.
So I think it was, might get emotional here.
Hmm.
I think it was me being selfless, honestly. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but like I was
Sure.
not going to set another set of kids up for like for not for failure, because I know I still would have pulled through had I done it, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been my best. And
Yeah.
those kids especially deserved.
Mm.
Clearly, I'm passionate.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I love it. It's,
they
yeah.
they deserve that, and
Mhm.
I reached a place where I wasn't going to be able to give it to them.
Yeah.
So I had to walk away. But it was really stinking cool because
Mm.
it was an opportunity for me to just be like, you know what? Like God, you gotta help me here. Like I
Mm.
feel you calling me out of this. You have something more for me.
Mm.
You have something different for me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that the investment, um, the years in high school and college and the years teaching, like it doesn't mean that those were a waste. Those
No.
were honestly just stepping stones to my now.
Yes.
Um,
It was shaping you.
yeah. And
Yeah.
now I'm able to still teach. I teach at our local museum, the Gibbs Museum here in Charleston, and so I still get that teacher fix, which is good.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
honestly, it's not the same population of children, but it's still children, and they still desire to. They want to create too, and they want
Sure.
to feel loved and encouraged, and so I'm equipped to do that. And
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
instead of like coming up with the next math lesson or social studies lesson, like, oh geez,
You
how am
are
I going to make this fun?
serving, yeah, you're
I'm
serving in a different way.
I'm
That's all.
teaching what I'm most passionate about anyway.
And there
So
should be
it's
no, yeah, no
it
guilt associated with
yeah,
that.
no,
And
it came full circle for me. It came full
yeah,
circle.
you could certainly
Um,
be doing something good and wonder, why is this the end right now? And
mm,
I have often heard the term that it's just our job to be obedient and it's God's job to bless it.
oh,
And
I love that. I love that.
yeah, I think that that's just,
So
rings true
that is
to
the
you.
that's exactly what happened. I I was being obedient. I was truly following his calling, but I was trusting that, if I leap, you're gonna catch me, right? Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Right.
you
Right.
know, like
Oh, oh,
and he
I love
did.
it.
He did. But
Oh,
I will say it wasn't immediately. Like, I mean, I felt
sure.
like there was never any doubt, never, ever, ever any doubt. The moment I walked out of that principal's office, who was so amazingly understanding, like yeah, it was awesome. But I walked out and I was like, whew,
Mm,
I did it. Like, all right,
yeah.
I'm ready for whatever's next.
And sometimes we just need, we're going to keep going until we have someone say, hey, stop a second. I'm going to breathe truth into your life right now and tell you something that maybe you don't see. And so now you're the painter and you create these beautiful pieces of artwork. And just circling back to what we were talking about a little bit before about how artwork can be used as rest and recovery. So what do you use? Like, is this
Mhm.
still a cathartic experience for you, or does it feel like work now? What, what do you typically use for your rest and
Yeah,
recovery?
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, girl, I can start painting and I'm like, all right, I have like 30 minutes before I should probably stop and go eat some lunch. The next thing I know, it's 3 o'clock. So I can very
Get
much so get
lost.
lost in my
Yeah.
work. Um, and calling it work really doesn't even sound right because it's
Mm,
not work for me.
right.
It is a form of expression, and just as much as I can go to yoga, hot yoga.
Mm.
Let me put that in there. It's got to be hot.
That's your jam.
Once you go hot, there's no going back.
Yeah, sure.
I am pretty obsessed with a studio in town called The Works.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bike over there if I have time. But let's be
Yeah.
real, I usually am painting till the last second, and then I'm like, I gotta go.
And
Yoga
you go
class
over
is
there.
starting in 10.
Oh my gosh.
So I'll drive
Awesome.
over. But anyway, it's close. It's downtown. It's called The Works. I love it. It's amazing. I am so blessed to like have found that space. And like I go there and like I said earlier, it's just a great place just to like clear my
Mm-hmm.
mind, like get the endorphins going, like stretch out.
Sure.
It's a great mind and body and soul experience just in that yoga class.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, like I'm just finding that the yoga is needed. It's a form of self-expression. My art is a form of like I'm literally birthing like out these paintings.
Yes.
Like I'm not, and for me, because I go to, let's say, a beach and paint from life, or I go to the farmer's market and find like a bunch of peaches or whatever and come back and paint them in my studio. um I'm going back to the investment thing. Like I am invested in my work too, so I'm that
Mm,
much more like it's mine. Like it's mine. I'm not like calling up my sister, who's an amazing photographer, but I'm not necessarily calling her up like, hey, like I need a beach scene with some like clouds with some purple in it. Do you have anything?
right.
Um, I'm sure she does. Like she's awesome, but they're her photos. That was her art,
Yes.
and I'm gonna go get my own photos.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go find, or I'm gonna find that scene and paint from life, or gather those items at the farmer's market or Trader Joe's flowers. Like I'm going to build that still life. Like I'm a part of it. It
Mm-hmm.
it's a full on investment,
Mm-hmm.
and then therefore like it it it's brewing, and then like it just comes out, and
So
it's
yeah, it's like not necessarily that you have one specific, like this is my rest and recovery. It all just kind of flows for you.
yes, yes,
And
yes,
that's your wellness journey now. It's
yes,
like your life,
yes,
that's your
yes,
lifestyle is your wellness
and
journey.
last night, so just like we're doing, getting creative and having like a Zoom meeting,
Yeah.
thanks to Corona. I love how so many people are getting so innovative, and creative with like technology.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I said this already, but I I love that.
Yeah.
So last night I went down to the boat landing, which is really close to my house on the Citadel's campus, their military college here in Charleston. Went
Sure.
over to the boat landing, met up with a girlfriend at a distance.
Sure.
Don't worry. Um, and I like lit some candles. This is one of them. It smells so good. I got it
I
at
wish
a
I could smell it.
gallery. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Mm.
Summer breeze.
Oh,
um,
yes.
got it recently at a little gallery a friend owns, and just love it. So took that candle, several candles out to the boat landing, lit the candles, turned on Instagram Live, and watched my church. We do a service every first Wednesday of the month,
Okay.
usually, in person, obviously, but that's not
Yeah.
happening now. And so we like had our own little church out there on the boat dock.
Oh,
So
Fallon, you are like my
sun was
soul
going
sister,
down.
girl. Seriously.
The sun was
Come
going
on.
down. So I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, pause. Let me get some pictures real quick of the sunset. Okay, back to worship. All right.
Yes, it's
It was
all
good.
intertwined. It's all
So
intertwined,
yeah,
your
I
mind, body,
mean,
and spirit.
it really is. It
Hmm.
really is.
And you know
And
what? Science is really telling us that now too. And I feel like we've known that for a long time, but there's a lot of medical or a lot of modern research being done about how all of our systems overlap and connect. And yeah.
I just had it. This just came to me. You're going to appreciate this.
Okay.
Okay. So I was passionate as a teacher, right? My mind I was in it. I was doing my thing.
Mm-hmm.
The soul thing was there too. I was very active in my church.
Yeah.
You know, did the Sunday church thing. I have a mentor through my church. I led a small group, did all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So my mind and my soul, but that wasn't enough.
Mm.
Like the body was missing as a teacher. I wasn't taking care of my physical body.
Yes.
And I think because all three weren't working together, I burned out. I couldn't go on. The candle.
Yes. It burnt
Burnt
out.
out.
It burnt out. Yes. Oh, wow. You know what? We could just honestly learn so much from you, and I could probably continue on this conversation all day. I mean, we
I
could just
know.
go from coffee to wine, keep
I
it
know. I
going.
know. I know. I
I'm
know.
sure my kids could take care of themselves. It would be fine, you know? And then before you know it, I'll be in my car on my way over to Charleston so we can hang out.
Well, you are welcome anytime, Abby.
Thank you. I appreciate
We'll
that.
come get our workout on.
Yes, we're gonna do everything. So no, I love this. And I think it's so important to continue to create community and conversation around what it looks like practically to nourish our minds, bodies, and spirits. And I just hope to continue to cultivate community around this in this way with these conversations. And
yes, I
to
love
meet
what
you.
you're doing. But, I mean,
Thank you.
yes, I'm with you. Like I could keep talking.
Yes.
Well, I'm just chatty Cathy no matter what, let's be honest. But especially when like I feel like the feeling, the vibe, the passion, the mission is mutual. Yeah, I'm with you. Could talk all day.
Thank you.
I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
To just, you know, encourage people to take care of themselves. Like I needed you when I was a teacher.
Sure. Yeah, I think that there's definitely a new wave of wellness coming, and yeah, I'm excited about it, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time, and I really, really appreciate you sharing your story, because I think that it's really beneficial. And and I know how to keep up with you, but whoever else is watching this, how can they keep up with you?
Oh, sure. Ooh, I can get real teacher on you.
Okay.
It'll be real quick. I feel like when I say my name, people don't hear it correctly. Like on the phone, like if I'm ordering takeout, they're like, they hear the owl, they're like, Mallory, Val, salad? So they can't hear. Okay, so I have this dry erase board. Okay. So I'll just, actually, let's see. I hope it's not going to be backwards. Let's see. I'm just going to write it out so people can see. Let's see. Is it backward? Oh,
no, I don't think so. No, it's not. Nope.
Okay.
At Fallon Peper.
Fallon like Jimmy.
Yes. I love it.
Pepper, but with one P in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
At Fallon Peper, that's my Instagram. But wait a minute, there's more. I just don't have room because I wrote too large. Fallon Peper Fine Art is my Instagram. Facebook, I think I'm probably the only Fallon Peper. If you just type Fallon Pepper, I pop up. And I do have a Fallon Peper Fine Art like business page.
Yes.
So that's me, Fallon Peper Fine Art. I'm definitely more active on my IG account just because
I'm here.
Visual. Why not? It's great for. And then this is my. I have retreats too.
Yes.
They're not wellness necessarily, although I could totally incorporate that into one sometimes. We'll chat. But at Field and Flow.
Beautiful.
Field just it's a painting retreat. It's a plein air painting retreat.
Sure.
So Field, kind of referencing painting out in the open field, and then Flow.
Love it.
I love the yoga flow, but I think we can flow with the paintbrush and flow with our creativity and flow with the wine.
Yes.
So Field and Flow, because it's all inclusive. Like people stay at my in-laws' place in McClellanville, which is like 45 minutes north of Charleston. Uh,
Nice.
really adorable shrimping town on the water. Um,
Um,
so it's like a 4-day retreat. And I'm not the instructor. I'm the host.
sure.
And I have other artists who are well into their career, 20 years into their career, who have a
Okay.
wealth of knowledge, a big toolkit to share, and they come and are my featured instructors. So Field
Beautiful.
and Flow is my painting retreat. I'm super passionate about this just because there again, it's another opportunity to kind of feel like I'm putting that teacher hat back on.
It's all vibing. It's all good. Yeah.
So I'm very passionate about that retreat. Fallon Peper
Very
Fine
cool.
Art for all art retreat.
Field and Flow.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed this. And I so appreciate you checking in with me and chatting and
Absolutely.
even being like interested in my story. So
Of
thank you.
course.